Welcome, beautiful souls, to the Beyond the Belief podcast. I'm your host, Lavender Loveway. With each episode, I invite you personally to join me as we explore a belief. It might be a widely held idea or a forgotten truth, or perhaps even one that feels unknown or deeply contested. This is a sanctuary for exploration, a place to absorb, listen, and learn with an open heart. We're shedding the heaviness of right and wrong and ascending into the lightness of greater connection and expansive knowledge. Today's episode is no exception. This is another precious opportunity to find a little gem or two of wisdom that helps you reweave your own tapestry of truth. One of the core teachings, if you will, of my beautiful guides, the Council of Love and Light, they share that creation requires space. We don't often think about it in that way, but every time I ponder it, I just realize how backwards sometimes we have it as humans. Here's what they shared first. Remember, things cannot be architected unless there is clear space. And so in thinking about manifesting or creating or doing or taking action to receive something, do we have the space for it? We often think we do, but do we? Inquiring a little deeper, I wanted to understand why. Why is a space needed before the thing can show up? Here's what they said. And this is how we create change or ascension right now in your life experience. There must be more space, which means more to clear, more to change, more to transmute, more to transform. So it's really about preparation, removing, changing, upgrading, transmuting. That means really connecting with something to be able to fully excavate it, eradicate it, fully set it free. It is very needed to first connect with the things that are there, to set them free, to then create the space. And this process they share with me very frequently, that it's not just cleaning, it's deeply energetic and connected more than likely to our emotions, which I don't know about you as a human. Sometimes when we get into that emotional realm, it's like, I don't have time for this. I don't want to have time for this. I don't know why I have to do this. I don't want to do this because it feels icky or it feels uncomfortable. And the wild part is that it can be something also physical. So it doesn't have to be emotionally clearing things. It can mean physically clearing things in our homes, in our most frequent spaces. As I record this episode, I am going through a lot of life transformational change. And so in having conversations with them about clearing space, it's physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's energetic. And they understand how difficult it is for us. Because I don't know about you, connecting with emotion, sometimes depending on what the emotion is not a very fun experience. And possibly if we're looking in the physical realm, making more space in our house, looking to invite new things into our experience. It's also challenging because we get emotionally attached to those things, or there's a value to them, or there's something memory-wise would just feel really bad if we let it go. But letting go is an act of faith. Letting go is an act of releasing energy. I also am in the midst of clearing out a lot of old stuff that I had online. I had an old YouTube channel. And part of deleting it, removing it, was freeing the energy. And if I think about it that way, then I'm able to just literally disband the energy. We cannot destroy it. It just repurposes itself into something else. It allows for a vacuum. And it also allows for that energy to then kind of come back in and be repurposed into something that we do deeply desire. And with my life journey, I'm going to be making a move from Phoenix back to Portland, where I grew up and spent the majority of my adulthood, my first 35 years of life. And as we know, moving can be an interesting experience. It sometimes is fun and exciting and thrilling, and sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, why do I have so much stuff? And I have been asked by my guides to give everything away outside of the things that I really need, my daily essentials. And they've shared with me, unless it's something that I need or that I deeply treasure or something that I really appreciate or helps ground me and remind me of who I am, then I need to set it free. And I will be very honest, I have been that human that has hung on to things forever. I have things from high school. I have a lot of things from my early adulthood, kind of like my 20s into my 30s. And especially the last 10 years, I'd say I have a lot of stuff. And they've given me this reminder, which I wanted to share, because if you are in a process at any point in expelling, removing, setting free things, this is what they shared. Stand up into your light and set down what does not serve you. Anything that does not serve you. So I'm going through this activity, if you will, in my physical environment, these things that I've been holding on to, these pieces of clothing, these objects, and even books. Could they bless someone else? Could I set them free? Because by doing so, I am essentially depositing energy into a bank. I'll say it like that. And then emotionally and mentally, it's the same thing. I'm going through, going inward. Where are things that feel prickly? Where are things that feel heavy or frustrating? This is where I leverage our human design, not self theme. So I, as a pure generator, frustration is my not self theme. So what is frustrating? Where is somewhere that's a point of frustration that I haven't been able to resolve? Or what things have I been frustrated about that I need to release? And so I'm going through things in a physical way, clearing space, but I'm also going through things emotionally and mentally, clearing space. And regardless of the physicality of it, so regardless if we're talking about me clearing things from my physical home or me clearing things from my body home, mentally or emotionally, they shared this that to me was the thing that anchored a lot of this purging, releasing, setting things free. Why would I do these things? I worked really hard to buy those things, or I worked really hard to learn those things, or master those skills or habits. And they shared this. Continue to make your room bigger. Remove, release. Do this until you have only the essentials, only the things that are in fact absolutely needed. And if I see my physical space, it's so much easier to then see the results. Imagine if I cleared everything out of this room and released it because it's not needed. Well, then I would see that the room is bigger. But we do this emotionally and mentally as well. It's just within us. It's around us. And by clearing and essentially removing things and then releasing them, which means working through them, transmuting them, we then create more room and more space. I'm sure you've experienced this at some point when you move into your space and then you fill it up and you live there for a while, your apartment, your house, whatever it may be. And then when you move out, you go back in to do the final walkthrough or the final checklist, or just make sure you didn't forget anything. And you go back through and you're like, wow, this place is actually pretty big. Or wow, it looks so big right now. Because it doesn't have all the stuff. But what does it have? There's a vacuum. There's nothing there. That apartment, that house is now ready for someone else to move into because the space has been cleared. But it's the same within us as well. That having that room, that space, it's creating a vacuum to invite in what we really do seek. Instead of trying to hold on to the things that we fear not having for whatever reason, yet we're sitting there wishing for something that cannot make its home in our heart, cannot make its home in our house, because we don't have the space. And I think one of the largest things for me in understanding this and walking through this is that often as a human, we see it as loss. When we give those things away or we release those emotions, let's say about that person who we cared about, who is no longer in our life experience, or that emotional relationship, or that work commitment, that career. We view it as loss because it's no longer there. But imagine if we instead reframed it to that loss is actually allowing for space to receive. That by having that vacation, something vacating us emotionally or mentally, or in our house, physically vacating, it's no longer lost. We've set it free. If I've given something away in my house or even sold something, someone else can enjoy it. If I within myself emotionally or mentally have set someone free who used to be in my life experience, and now I'm able to send them off with love, I also free them to be happy. And I free myself to have the space to then receive. My guides echoed something similar. They shared, the reason for this is because you have much coming to you. And if you continue to hold on to all of the energetic things that have surrounded you for a long time, this will prevent you from receiving more. So in hearing this affirmed to me that we really cannot fully receive with both hands, open arms, without first letting go, releasing, setting it free. And the extra bonus, let me just also say, in the case of me moving multiple states away, I now have less I have to move. It might be less expensive. It's going to be less stress. I'm going to be less concerned for getting my stuff from point A to point B. Funny enough, in my case, my guides have shared with me that I'm just going to take a carload of stuff. I have never in my life experience moved like this. This is the most freeing experience, but I will tell you at first it was scary because every time I've moved in my life, and I've moved many times, like I've literally moved, holy cow, at least over 20 times. So imagine every time I move, it's something huge. I have to rent a big truck. I got to get all these boxes. I got to pack all the stuff. I got to put it all in there. I got to find somebody to maybe help me. And then I got to pull it all back into the house. And then I got to unpack everything. Like it's a whole orchestration of things. For me right now, thinking that I'm going to have a carload of stuff that I'm going to leave and then drive there, and I'm going to have a carload of stuff to load in the house. What? Like, there's part of this, y'all, that is so freeing, but it's because I'm releasing the energy. I'm releasing the stuff. It's going to go bless other people, which means laws of the universe, it comes back to me. And funny enough, maybe this is my opportunity to upgrade things. In many cases, my guides have confirmed this. This is my opportunity to release all of the synthetic clothing and all the plastics. And for those who choose that, so be it. It's totally okay. But for me, I am choosing natural fabrics. And so from this point forward, I am only buying natural fabrics, only buying natural things. So it also opens the door. It kind of flings it open to choice and difference. And this is something for me that is so profound, because if I didn't make the space, I couldn't feel these freedoms. I couldn't feel these pieces of excitement that I've never felt in moving before. But just the same in my emotional and mental life, to be able to finally go inward and take a moment to take inventory and start removing things and collecting things so that I can then work through them, transmute them, and then set them free. I feel lighter. I feel physically lighter because I have less stuff, and I feel emotionally and mentally lighter because I have less energetic things that keep my mind and my consciousness. They no longer have to play ping pong, They can finally be free to be. And I will be honest with you, it feels like this is a time for change. But what's really interesting too is that they also echoed through all of this as I'm learning this and understanding this and ultimately remembering all of this, is that we should be doing this on regular intervals. So for me to do this a couple times in my life because I'm having some sort of complete change or big life movement shouldn't be the only time I'm doing this inventory. This should be something that we're continuously choosing the things that are in our environment. And I don't know about you, I feel like half the stuff that I've ever accrued or accumulated, whether it be on a physical sense or an emotional, mental sense, if I store it, it's because there's fear. So I store it within me because, that person wronged me and how dare them. And I don't want to ever feel like that again. So I'm going to store this, which is going to hurt me so that I remember this person did this to me. Even saying it like that, it's like, Or in the physical sense, well, I don't know if I'll have money to replace this, so I'm just going to hold on to it. Well, I might need this someday in this one very specific place and time. And if I ever get there, or if I ever see it, or if it ever happens, then I'll have this. And I'm going to be really honest. I think most things that I've ever said that about, I've never used. It just doesn't happen. And if it were that chance that it happens and suddenly you're like, oh, I wish I had that thing. Maybe this is your opportunity to find a more elevated version, a better version, a current version, or maybe something that's even empowering more, exploring more. So it's not just a needle and a thread, but now you actually want to explore sewing. And so now you're going to get an actual sewing machine. But if you would have kept the needle and thread, maybe you wouldn't have had the itch or followed the intuitive pull to get the sewing machine, to open a new door. We don't see and allow the magic that can come from these choices. And that, to me, the sewing machine on the emotional, mental side might be even a relationship. If we're hanging on to that relationship that we've had for so long and we don't know anything else and we don't know if we'll ever find someone so funny. It was Lee Harris who had shared that the Z's had communicated that if you want someone who's funny and you release someone who's funny, who comes back to you, the next being, the next partner, or the next lover who's going to be in your life is that funnier. Because that's the way the universe works. And as my guides always share and remind me, as long as we believe. So if we believe that, we will receive that. But as I go through these changes, physically, mentally, and emotionally, I continuously remind myself that I am empowering myself through choice, or in my case, many choices. All the things, all the emotions, all the pieces of inventory. And through an act of faith, it's readying me for my next life, quote, quote, my next vibrational stair, my next version of myself, my next highest self. She's invited in because I have made space for her. And as my guides echoed, but now you are choosing to step into your light, which means you are ultra shedding, ultra dropping, ultra releasing. It is a choice. It is an act of faith as well. And in that way, y'all, that was the confirmation. So for me, as I continue to evaluate the things that are physically around me, the things that are within me emotionally, energetically, and continue to release and continue to step into my light, I am then in a state of ultra shedding, ultra dropping, ultra releasing things. It's an act of faith. It is a step. It is taking a step in belief, in faith, but an action towards that thing that I desire. I desire more light. I desire more freedom. But I cannot receive those things unless I release what I have. And I imagine now, looking back, it's always easier to look back, right? Or to reflect back, I should say. It's always easier to see that. Imagine if I would have done this on a more regular interval. If I would have continuously been looking at the things in my home. Is this thing serving me? Is this thing supporting my energetic vibration of now? And if it wasn't, lovingly giving it away so that others can step into their light. You don't realize how you doing something sets into a chain reaction of other things, not only for yourself, but also for others. And imagine if I would have taken better inventory of my emotions or my feelings or things that I was harboring. If I would have set those things free, how much lighter I would have been. And with that lightness, if you will, this is what mentally I think about is like you're floating. You're floating because you don't have all this stuff holding you down. And this is not about, well, I'm just going to get rid of every single, belonging I ever have. No, because you have an experience. You are choosing this human experience. But your chosen human experience might not need every single thing that's in your house. It might not need every emotion that you're continuing to hold on to. Because the longer that you hold on to something, the longer it takes to have the space to then receive those things that you're really, really desiring. So with this, an invitation for contemplation. Even if this isn't a large time of transformation for you or change in your life experience, this might be the perfect moment to consider taking some inventory. Looking at your physical space, the space that supports you in all that you do. It shelters your body, it houses your belongings, it showcases the things that you have chosen. You've chosen them. If you have things that you have not chosen, maybe it might be time to release them. If you have things that you once chose that maybe now is not the time to choose or continue to choose them, maybe it's time to release them. And then from a spiritual, a energetic, an emotional, a mental state, what things are you continuing to hold on to? To me, I associate them with what I affectionately call records playing. So the record playing is suddenly that word track that comes up that's like, oh, I got to do this, or this is what's happening. Or it's like that reminder, have you done this yet? This is important. You got to do it now. Maybe looking at those records. Do I need this record? Where did this record come from? When did this record first start playing? What state of mind was I in? What state of life was I in? What state of connectedness was I in or not in? And you start to take inventory and look at things from that observer seat. Do I need these things? Do I desire these things? Do I want these things? Do I choose these things? Because trust me when I say this, I know that there are times in our life experience where things get a little tight and a little, and we need to rely on others to maybe give us a few things to help us take that next step. But it doesn't stay like that forever. It never does. Funny enough, one of the rings that I wear on my pointer finger is to remind me of what Eckhart Tolle says in The New Earth, that this too will pass. This too will pass. And to me, the word choice is really important, as I've heard in the Bible, this too shall pass. But this too will pass. Every single thing will pass at one point or another. It might be now. It might be a few moments from now. It might be a lot of moments from now. But there is nothing permanent in this world. Everything passes. It's just about enjoying and receiving and allowing the joy to come from that thing, whether it be the emotional experience, the mental note, or the physical, tangible things. Because imagine, let's say you as a grown adult, maybe you'd think it's sweet if you had your baby toy. Because there's memories and things associated with it. But would you play with it as much as you did then now? Likely not. So it's okay that it departed, because it allowed space for things that you play with now. And that's that evolution, that change, that upgrading that sometimes we as humans get so afraid of. But there's nothing to be afraid of, my friends. This is a natural process of releasing, a truly sacred decluttering. And our sacred declutters should happen more than those larger moments in our life. And I believe this is why we sometimes fear this process, because it can be a lot. It can be heavy, because we only allow ourselves to do it when things are heavy, when things are a lot. And because we haven't done it in a while too, it becomes extra a lot and extra heavy. So imagine if we invested that contemplation time to look at our mental, emotional, energetic, spiritual, and physical things on a more frequent basis, and continuously ask yourself, do I continue to choose to host this thought, host this belief, host this candle, whatever it may be? And if the answer is yes, then that is your choice. But inquiring deeply into why, and quite possibly there might be many things that you could release. And this is what I have found. I have a lot of things that I absolutely love and a lot of hobbies. If I would have gotten this tarot deck 2 years ago and you would have asked me if I could have gotten rid of it, I probably would have said, yeah, totally. Like, yeah, it's cool, but But right now, this is one of my most treasured physical reminder possessions because it allows me, it's a gateway, it's connective, it's expansive. So I invite you to look around you, look within you, and ask, are these things empowering me to be expansive? Because if not, your sacred declutter could set these things free and allow you to clear your room, make that space, allow for the vacuum to come in so that you may finally receive those things that you have been wishing for, thinking about, meditating upon. Because if I'm honest with you, those things are waiting for you right now.